Hello everybody and welcome to a quick overview for the Bohemian Cello Expansion 1. You just heard me play very quickly a simple tune I came up with without any force keys, key switches or CC. It was just the performer, our virtual performer, working out what he should play, how he should play it. And that's ultimately what our libraries are about. For those who already own the cello, you can now log into your account at our website and begin your download for the free expansion. Now, what we're going to do in this overview, look at some of the core features. So first, let's unwrap the library and see what's hidden in the GUI. So now you can see all the articulations that are assigned on the GUI. And you can change this arrangement yourself, of course. So if you click the slot button, now you can see that you've got a drop-down from which you can assign whatever you want. And once you click assign, you'll leave the layout page and you'll go back to the control page. Now, what you can also do, of course, is change the assignment for the force key by simply clicking the note name for the articulation you wish to change. An assign will come up. It is listening whether you press a MIDI note. You can cancel this, or if it happens that you wish that you assign to, or that you attempt to assign to something that is already assigned, it will give you a warning message and let you know what it would swap around. It will basically swap the key switches around to make sure that your new assignment is active, but that the old assignment didn't disappear. Of course, you can cancel this, same as you can cancel listening in for everything. Now, one of the most important things about the expansion 1, excluding the fact that it's adding a lot of bow variety in terms of the on-bow legatos in many dynamics, which are all chromatically sampled, up and down bow directions and all that jazz, like always with us, it also brings about moods. And moods are basically behavioral effectors. What they do, they affect the behavior of the virtual performer. At the beginning, you heard me play on improv, and I'll play on the improv a bit later again. And it's basically like this most flexible performer. Imagine a musician who is literally improvising live. That's how this is set up. So it uses the widest varieties of bow types, bow legatos, etc. It's a great one to start with when you're writing, if you're not sure which other one you want. Now, you can also choose Czardash, which is more for the aggressive type of writing for very quick lines, or the emotive, which is something very special, and we'll get to that later. So without further ado, I'll play a little bit more on the improv, and you can see how much is happening again under the hood when I'm just playing. I won't be using any force keys, any key switches. I'll just be playing a general tune, and the performer will be choosing things for me as I play along to make sure that it sounds realistic. As you heard, again, the virtual performer just played for me. I was able to just play notes and it handled things as it should. Now what we're going to have a look at is Czardash. Now, Czardash mood, we've introduced it on the violin originally. It's coming under the same name for the cello, even though it's unlikely that cello would actually play Czardash. It's an Eastern European folk dance. But the principles are the same. This is suitable for more aggressive play styles, faster play styles. It leans heavier towards the fast legatos. And it has marcato as its most dominant bow. So I'm just going to play very quickly. This is really for high dynamic, very forceful articulations. And I would also like to point out that this will be quite loud because I'll be playing in forte. So, you know, if you are having it very loud, just be prepared for that. The dynamic range of the cello is quite vast, so just a quick warning. So, now we had the really loud and bombastic. I think it's time to show off the other side of the cello. And the best mood for that is the emotive. Emotive mood leans towards the slower legatos. The legatos which were recorded in a different technique, the whole note legatos. These are extremely good for lower dynamics because they just gently resonate the string. They touch it featherly. The vibrato is different because it was recorded in a completely different mood and motion, and hard to describe, best to hear. Wow, the emotive always gets me. I get sort of lost in the world when I play it because it's just so unique. This eerie, featherly bow which just gently resonates the string. I'm in love with this. So we're gonna have a look at other features. The first one I would have a look at is the auto bow. Auto bowing is basically a feature which does automatic bowing on the cello. So when the bow is about to end, it will rebow automatically for you without you having to do anything. However, there are times when you might want to have that off, or as myself, for example, I prefer to rebow myself at all times, so I actually turn it off. But we know that a lot of users liked it on the violin, so it comes here on the cello as well. So when you have it on, when you press and hold note, it will always rebow according to the momentum of the bow. And when you turn it off, you would have to rebow manually by pressing the key again. We've also added a new feature called lasting bow. Lasting bow is, I would call it experimental feature because we do have a different solution for really long bows coming in expansion 2. But in the meantime, if you go from a note to note on the same bow, the bow can sometimes run out sooner than you would want. Now this happens because in the real world the bow would physically run out based on the way we record. Everything we record is captured in a melodic momentum, which means it's basically always moving. We don't do static recording. That's why our performers sound so lifelike. But of course there are challenges, and one of them is that we have to respect the real laws of physics and the real laws of the sound. So when the bow would run out on the recording, it runs out naturally in the library, so we have to rebow. But lasting bow basically overrides this, and when you force it prior to the interval and you hold it during the interval, it will basically merge in a new bow. So at times it can sound like a very, very gentle rebow, which is almost inaudible. And sometimes it will sound absolutely perfect like it's the same bow. But either way, it takes away the bump and of the rebow. And it allows you to have a really long sustaining note post-transition and still having the slur, which is what, of course, you desired. So the lasting bow is a really cool feature. I'll just show it off quickly. And the last thing we'll do on this overview is have a look at shorts. Of course, in our usual fashion, we've got brand new pizzicatos, spiccatos, and staccatos. Before we get to do the pizzicato and we play the shorts, I just would like to point out as well that our shorts, pizzicatos, spiccatos, and staccatos, can be key switches. By clicking this button, it will convert it from force key into a key switch. Therefore, when you press it, the key switch, it will latch and hold until you press another force key or you release the key switch, i.e. press it again. The reason we do it only on the shorts is because the performer takes care of it on the long ones, and usually you just need to force, sustains once or twice, but you don't need them to latch. But on the short keys, very often if you're gonna have a longer passage in shorts, you just prefer to have them latched so they can stay. So that's why it's done here. So I'm just gonna go and play a bit on the pizzicatos. I could easily spend hours playing with a pizzicato. It's quite fun how such a simple articulation can entertain you for such a long time, especially when we were sort of building it at the beginning. I got stuck for a couple hours on just playing it. It's just sometimes funny what happens when you're building these instruments. Now spiccatos. Spiccatos are sort of really sharp, fast, short notes. These are great for edgier writing, or when you're doing runs where you want the robust bow change. Ironically, they are quite commonly used in Eastern folk music for a lot of the runs, more commonly actually than on bow runs. But in a Western music, we more commonly use on bow runs in our writing. In Eastern folk, you will most likely use spiccato runs. But I'm diverging. So I'll just play it quickly on the spiccatos. And now finally we're reaching the last thing left is the staccatos, with which I'll bid a farewell as well on this video, keeping it short and tidy. And we will look forward to seeing you on all the other tutorials coming for the GUI, force keys, and we'll also do one tutorial on the legatos. So there are 3 videos planned at the moment, and if you got any questions, don't hesitate to drop us an email. We now have the new GUI, which will be applied to all our future soul capture libraries, because it's very modular and it allows us to add a lot more bow types, which is what is needed for the expansion 2. And we can't wait to unveil more as this year progresses, because this year is very, very exciting for us. Thank you very much for your time, and let me bid you farewell with staccatos, one of the articulations I often lose a lot of time on when I play.